Well, hello there, stamping friends. It's Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping. So glad to have you join me tonight. Our first Facebook Live for April. I'm glad we're in April. And it's raining, but I'm not going to even think about that. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put the camera down because we're going to go ahead and get started right away. I have some gifts to give away first, and then we're going to do a really neat fun fold that is making me think of spring. And then, let's see, I'm going to give you a little preview of what I'm going to be doing in my online class next Tuesday evening. So, without further ado here, let me go ahead and hit the buttons and know I'm going to be upside down for a minute. And I'm going to take you with me to see the my desktop here. And let me see, I just need to get my computer doing what it's supposed to do. So sorry. Oh boy. Sometimes it just goes totally away. So that's what it just did. It'll just take me a minute. But while I am waiting for this to fire up the right way, let me go ahead and show you the prizes. If you'll recall, during the month of March, I did a retro stamping celebration. And during that time, I asked folks to share cards that were retro, either using things from long ago, sharing tips with us, or yeah, I guess that was the way you could qualify to enter for the drawing. So I did have actually just a few folks share their cards. We had some trouble getting them posted on my Facebook page, but if I can get that to happen, I'll surely do that. But anyway, I do have 3 winners, and so let's see. I believe Kathy Kelly, so congratulations. I saw you're already on. I have the part of my story, all sentiments, which are really cool. I love the one, let's get together and giggle. Anyway, I'll be dropping this in the mail for you on Friday. Lisa Krogan actually sent me a retro card, and she won the In Your Words, once again, a number of sentiments. And then Kim Gerard from Texas won the Happy Wishes set that was from quite a while ago, celebration set. So I'll be getting that to her as well. So thank you to those of you that participated, and I hope that if you were unable to participate, that you liked seeing the retro cards posted. And I also did an extra free tutorial in my newsletter on retro stamping. So I think the thing that I saw more than anything in those cards, and that I saw from the cards I had made myself, was we did not have designer series paper the way that we have now to match stamp sets. And so there were a lot more stamped backgrounds. So I guess that's just a tip if you want to remember, if you have background stamps or you want to make your own backgrounds, it's another way to design your cards. So with that, let's go ahead and look at our card tonight. So this, I'm going to call it a modified or a gate card, I guess, but with a little twist. So if you look closely at this card, this is the regular size of a card base, but it is just scored uniquely at 2 inches, 2 1/8 inches, to make the usual card base that is 4 1/4 across, and then 5 1/2 from top to bottom. And so to make this card, here's what we're going to be using today. We're actually going to use the Timeless Tropical stamp set. So we're going to be putting the palm trees inside of the card, and then this flower for the outside of the card, and then I'm going to use the sentiment for birthdays. So that's what we're using. Now there is a die set that matches this, and I used it to cut out the flowers in advance to save us some time, but there is the die set available. Also, to make the label for the front of the card here, I use the postage stamp punch. So if you can see this a little bit more up close. And then what we did, it's really a matter of making the card layers and adhering them in alignment, but yet with enough space so that this will pop open. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. And I do have all of my cardstock cut already. And as you can see, instead of doing the score line right in the middle to make the regular card, the score lines are made on the sides, 2 1/8, and I'm going to fold it where it's actually coming up more the mountain side than the valley side. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my bone folder to score that. And the important thing is that this is not overlapping, but they're just meeting. So kind of test yourself, and if you need to make an adjustment, you can. But that's how this will work really smoothly when you want to open it, okay? And then to be a continuation of the card base itself, I have 3 pieces of cardstock that are going to be the most base layer of these 3 pieces that are going to, you know, make the cool fun fold, all right? And so we have those 3, and they are each, let's see here, 3 1/2 by 1 3/4. So 3 1/2 by 1 3/4. So we have the 3 of them. And then we're going to layer those using Evergreen Evening cardstock. And you can see this is going to go just a very small border on there. And these are actually 2 by 5 3/8. No, that's wrong. 3 3/8 by 1 5/8. I'm sorry, we have larger ones to put on actually the card itself. So these are the smaller ones. So once again, this is 3 3/8 by 1 5/8. Okay. And then to finish those 3 layers, we're going to take some designer series paper. And these are 1 1/2 inch by 3 1/4 inch. And they're going to be, once again, just with a very small border. So how I'm going to put those together is just with a little bit of glue. But I wanted to show you where I got this in the catalog. So this is from our mini catalog, January to June. And this is called the Artfully Composed Designer Series paper. So it's very, very vacation and tropical like. Now it also has a stamp set and dies to go with it, but I don't have that set, so I used the Timeless Tropical from the annual catalog. Okay, so I'm using a little bit from both catalogs. Let's get my glue going here and create the layers that we need to make the hinges of our kind of gated fun fold. So I'm just going to line that up. And remember, with the glue, it works so nice because I can hold it in place, especially when I have these really thin borders. I just love to use the glue because I am much more likely to get it straight. Okay, then I'm going to glue that on top of the Calypso Coral. Try not to use too much glue here. I don't want it squishing out. So a big part of this card, and it looks so much more complicated than it really is just making these, if you will, hinges for our fun fold. So I just hold it in place once I feel like it's straight enough. Okay, so there's one of them done. Go ahead and do the next one here. And I would really appreciate if you let me know who's watching, where you're from, and remember the comments, any feedback, any questions. I can see some of the comments. For some reason, I cannot see all of them, but I will answer questions now, and I will answer questions after we're done in case I did not see your comment during the broadcast. And remember, if you are watching this on replay, I'd also appreciate to know who you are, where you're from, and if you have any questions or comments. Okay, now know that obviously this fun fold, you can use any designer series paper, and then I would just pick whatever favorite colors or colors that you have to make these hinges. And then decide, you know, which stamp set, if you want to make any embellishments, and what you would like your, you know, sentiment to be, whatever the occasion may be. And I really think you could use this card design for any occasion. It's not going to be, you know, it doesn't need to be any one thing. And depending upon the paper that you use, it will definitely set a mood for whatever your occasion may be. So very, very versatile. And once again, it's just making sure that your cuts are good, and that's why some of them being in the smaller, you know, 3/8, 5/8 kind of thing, is just to make sure your cuts are what they need to be. All right, so now we've got the 3 hinge panels completed here. And now we have to finish making the panels on the card base itself. So it kind of continues the design of being, you know, more decorative on the sides here. So I'm going to still use the same colors with my evening evergreen. Now these 2 pieces are cut at 2 inches by 5 3/8. So they're a little bit bigger, but they're also meant to be able to be centered on the card. And then using 2 more pieces of the designer series paper. And these are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And then they are just centered on here. So we'll glue that up. So I think you can also tell. Now, if you'd want to make these panels and stamp on them instead of using designer series paper, you could always do that as well. So you can change up the design that way. Or you could actually stamp on these and then make panels on top of it. You know, it's just how much, how many layers and all that you want to use. So there's different levels of complexity that you can decide to put in here. But I really, I like the different layers and the designer series paper. In this case, with the palm trees and the flowers, like hibiscus flowers, this seems to go so well together. So I liked the layering of this. And by the way, I wanted to mention that my friend, a fellow stamper, Jean Weniger, actually designed this card. And so shout out to Jean. Thank you so much. And she's allowing me to share this with you. So she's an awesome stamper. And we've stamped together for, I think we've figured out it to be about 25 years. It's a long time to be stamping together, but we have a lot of fun. And she's the person I go to a lot of stamp camps with. So anyway, our last stamp camp is when she designed this. All right. Now we'll get this panel on. Okay, so now is going to be the hold your breath moment. Trying to make sure that these are lined up so that they will, you know, they're zigzagged as far as which piece they connect to. And I'm going to do the top and the bottom one. And then I'll make sure that the clearance is there for the middle one. So I am just going to line this up to match the top and the bottom of the card. And I'm going to glue these two on this side and this one on this side. So I'm going to take this one off for now. Try to, when you want to glue something, line it up how it's going to end up on the card. And that way you won't go over the center, because I don't want to get any glue that would go onto the other side of this card. I just want it to stay on the one side. So then I'm going to, don't mind my head, I'm sure you're probably seeing my hair right now. Let me back out of here so you can see. I'm just lining up the top of this with the top of the card. And then I've done my best to, you know, keep it equidistant from the sides. And then double check. Now, something that you could do if you wanted to be really careful is you could insert this silicone mat. The only problem with that is it makes it hard to actually see if you've got this straight. So I'm going to go without it. All right, I'm going to set this against the bottom now of this and glue it down. Okay, I'm going to get it a little bit on the corner there. And then I'm going to follow the line up with the bottom of the card again, keeping those borders as close as I can by just eyeballing them. I don't think there's any need to measure it. I think just eyeballing it's fine. And then I can place, if you look now, you can see that I have left enough room for there to be a gap. And also, I am going to be able to put this exactly in the middle where I want it, because I put the other two there, and now I can do it by using the placement of both of them. That's why I did the two on the edges first. So now I'm going to just line this up, leaving that, trying to line it up straight with those gaps. Hold it a second to dry. Okay, and then the test, did it work? Yay, it did. All right. So now let's do a little stamping, and then we will finish off with our embellishing of the card. So I'm taking first the inside of the card, and I'm actually going to use the palm trees. And because the palm tree base and then the leaves are on top, I'm actually going to color this with my markers versus trying to stamp this and not make the leaves brown and the you know, the trunk green. So I'm using, first I'm going to take, and these are my markers that are just the regular Stampin' Right markers. These are not alcohol markers, okay? So I'm going to take the brush end of Soft Suede and just go down the trunk of the tree. So this is a way to get multiple colors on a stamp, and it really works with the red rubber stamps best if you're going to use this technique, or otherwise called our cling stamps. Okay, so I have those done. And then I'm going to use Soft Succulent, which is one of our in colors, and the brush tip of that for all the leaves. Now there's a lot more leaves here, so it does take a little bit longer to color. And I always want to make sure I come from the end of the leaves into the center so that I get the whole outline of the leaf and don't miss it. And go over it a couple times to make sure you're leaving ink on the whole area. Now this is a way, if you don't have all of the ink colors, but you have the markers, that you can, you know, use these on your stamps too as another way to add color to your images when you're stamping. So I do try to get as like the in colors come out, or when there's a color change up with our sets of colors, I always try to get the markers, because also if I'm stamping and I'm using the ink and I miss a little section, I can always fix it with these markers. It makes that process very easy. So I use them for a lot of things. I also like to sometimes sign my cards in the colors that I've used on the card. That's kind of unique and makes things look cool. So, all right, just going over this one more time, making sure I have it all covered. And then to make sure that I am still going to get all of the ink to transfer over to the card, I'm going to breathe on this. Sometimes people will call it huffing, or just breathing to re-moisten the ink. So I've got my card insert, and okay, and I've done the breathing on it, and I'm going to put it down in this corner, and then I'm just going to press firmly as if I would be stamping with ink. All right. And doesn't that look nice? I am always surprised by how nice it looks when I'm using the markers. And it comes right off with the chamois with water. So it works really well. All right, I'm going to glue this on the inside of the card quick. And since I'm going to have the outside sentiment for happy birthday, I'm not going to put it inside the card. And also, the trees took up a little space, so I want to leave myself enough room to actually write on here. So you could put another sentiment in if you wanted. I'm just choosing not to right now. And then I just want to center that and keep it straight on all of the sides to match the score lines. And you've got the center of your card done. So now let's go back and embellish the card using this little hibiscus flower. And so we'll put them on the different ends. And actually, I'm not going to do that until I can put the sentiment down first. So let's go ahead and, like I said, I punched this out with that postage stamp punch. Boy, do I use that a lot. I have found many sentiments fit in here really well. So now I'm going to just use the Evening Evergreen ink to stamp this up. Okay. Now this just makes it, I gotta tell you. But I also needed it to be thin enough to fit on the hinge, you know, that I'd made. So this all works. So there we go. Oops. Must have had glue on my finger. Okay, let's just close this up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I am going to pop this up on some dimensionals, and that's just little pieces of foam that pop it up on the surface. So I'm just going to put this towards the end and then center it. And then I am going to pop up all of these flowers as well. I'm just going to put one dimensional in the center of each of these flowers. Now, you could have it be just like this if you wanted, but I liked Jean's idea of putting these flowers on here. So it really adds, I think. And then I'm just going to do them every different side and just kind of try not to cover up the words there. All right, and we've got our birthday card. And this looks so much harder than it is. I'd like to know if, what do you think of this fun fold? And do you think it's something that you're going to be wanting to try? I'm going to go ahead and look at, let's see here, your comments. Some of you don't have the markers. I totally get it. Yes, you could definitely use daubers and the ink pad. That is a really a great another option. You can use the ink pads. Be very careful and kind of you could do the brown first and then do the green. That would also work. If you did them separately, you just wouldn't be able to do it at the same time. Let's see. Yeah, it's only letting me see some of the comments, you guys. Oh, okay, Barb. I'm glad you're saying you'll be making this one. You too, Kathy. That's great. Yeah, I really, really like this, and it's a lot easier than it looks. So let me just give you a quick peek at the class cards that I'm going to be doing on Tuesday. And then, as I said, after this, since I can only see 5 comments right now, and there's over 20, I will get back to you guys after class. Okay, so let me just set this over to the side. And let me go ahead and show you a sneak peek of what I'll be doing on Tuesday. And you can register for this right here on my Facebook page. So first I'm going to be doing multiple set. A lot of, this is focusing, it's called Magic of Making Multiples, and how that can help you in your design and making cards faster. So if you've been buying any of our designer series paper recently, there's always a sheet or two that has flowers in a way that you can just cut it in half and have 6 cards. So I'm going to be doing that with actually a different set than this one, but I'll be showing you this set finished and working with you on another set of paper that is designed the same way. But it's a great way to get 6 beautiful cards. Then I'm not going to show you all the cards in the middle here, but actually going to show you 5 different ways to go from a very simple card to a very ornate card. And then what decisions you can make in the middle to step it up based on the supplies you have and how much time you want to spend when you're making cards. So I'm going to go through a whole series and make that card in 5 different ways. Then I am going to do a one-sheet wonder where I am going to take one piece of cardstock, do some stamping, and then show you how I make it into 4 cards. And then I'm going to do a bonus one that I'm not even going to show you the card now because I made up something else the other night and I really liked it. So I'm going to put that bonus in place as well. And that's going to be making another 4 cards very easily. So with that said, let me see if I can see any other questions. I'm hitting it, and let me try again here. You know what? That's what it's showing me. So I'll tell you what. Let me flip the camera up here a second and just say thank you so much for joining me tonight at Facebook Live. I really appreciate you watching and tuning in. And don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions, if there's anything that you are interested in getting to make your own cards. And or remember to sign up for class, and I would love to see you there next Tuesday evening. If not, I will see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Have a great week, take care, and happy stamping. Bye-bye, guys.